welcome to another See Different presentation. Today we get to hear from some interesting and active people about unique ways that they make fitness a fun part of their life. And Adam, can you tell us a little bit about See Different?
I would be glad to, but since this is fun, I have a question first. Regarding fitness, how does a chicken get in shape?
How do they?
Well, they exercise.
Oh, exercise.
So thank you for joining us today again. See Different has been around this agency now for around 5 years, and its goal is to show how blind and visually impaired live, work, and play. So we do this with interactive activities in person and webinars such as this one. And we have activities people can participate in, blindfolding them and having them pour liquid into a glass without spilling it, and all sorts of things. And in the process, we answer a lot of questions and share a lot of information to people so that they understand a little bit more about what blindness is about, and we break down some barriers that way. So that's the whole point of See Different.
It's fun for sure. And so today we hope that you'll get inspired by watching some of these folks show and tell how they make fitness a fun part of their lives, and maybe you'll even try some of the pursuits that you see here while getting healthy and having fun. So sit back, listen, watch, and enjoy.
As with anything physical, there are potential risks connected with activity in any exercise or physical fitness or training regimen. Engaging in any of the exercises shown in this webinar is done at your own risk, and participant assumes all risks of injury. Welcome to See Different, helping people to see blindness from a different perspective and recognize the opportunities these individuals bring to Florida's communities.
Welcome everyone to our segment called Fitness Made Fun. And we're doing some interviews with people who are visually impaired and make fitness a part of their lives. So today I am very proud to welcome a guest who has been in the business enterprise program for over 35 years and is a retired massage therapist for over 20 years and has been involved in staying fit, staying healthy, and done many activities to support a healthy lifestyle. And I'm very happy to welcome Ms. Terry Lindstrom today. So hello, Terry, and thank you so much for participating with us.
Hi, thank you for having me, Adam.
So thank you for doing this. And so I'd like to ask you, tell us a little bit about what you do to stay fit and to stay healthy. So I'll just let you talk a little bit about the things you do to stay healthy and stay fit.
I do a combination of things, and it changes over the years. But right now, I will be telling you about the tandem bike that my husband and I ride, but I also have a rowing machine, indoor rowing machine, and a spin bike. And then I have a program called Calinetics. It's a exercise program that I do in my fitness room. And then my husband and I also like to walk on the beach. I use an exercise band, and we can walk, and so I can swing my arms freely, and it really makes it feel nice and free.
So I guess I should ask you, Terry, can you tell us a little bit of the level of your vision?
Yes, I now see shapes, not too many shapes anymore, but little bits of light and darkness. So I guess you'd say that's about it, just lightness and darkness. And that is starting to change. But over the years, I mean, years ago when I first started, exercising, I could see well enough to be in an aerobics class and be right behind the teacher and follow her. And then when that got a little bit dangerous, I switched to something else. And, to stay fit, when you have a visual impairment, sometimes you have to be flexible. And so every time something changed and it was something that I couldn't safely do, I would find something else, because there's always plenty to do.
Here's a big question that I could use myself too. What motivates you?
Ah, wow, what motivates me? I've always watched my weight. So in my younger days, I probably would have definitely said, weight control, which it still is, but I like to be healthy. I think that's very important. And my husband and I, like, especially with the tandem and the walking on the beach, it's wonderful to do physical activities with either good friends or your loved one. There's something special that it brings a certain kind of closeness when you can share those kind of things with each other. And it's when I'm doing something outdoors, it's great to have the fresh air. And when I'm indoors, I always like to have some great music on, and it helps with your spirits, helps you feel good, and just all in general, just keeps you young, keeps you going.
Couple more questions just to wrap things up here, but you mentioned a few of these already, but tell us about any either high-tech or low-tech solutions that you use that help you that other people might benefit from. And that could be devices or even low-tech things or apps or anything like that.
Okay, I'll tell you two things. On the tandem, when my husband and I ride the tandem, now we ride an off-road tandem and a road tandem. And so it's very important to communicate with each other, when you are blind and you have a stoker. And so we use a headset, and he can communicate with me, and let me know if we're going around a corner or if we're riding in the woods, to let me know whether to duck my head and various things like that. And that has been it's just been big. It's really made a big difference for us. And something else that I use when I'm doing my training on the spin bike, I like to do interval workouts, and I have an app. It's called Seconds Pro that I listen to, and it will call, you can set the timer however you want it. So I can set the intervals for the length of time that I want. And then I have my music piped in right along with it. So the voice will calls out the time, and it counts down to the next interval. It's just fabulous. There's so much now, that we can all do that helps us to, stay more active, and just all kind of stuff out there. But those are my two favorite things right now.
Well, it sounds like you got the phone there to keep you, on pace, and it sounds like you got the music to keep you rocking. So it sounds like you thought of one other thing.
One other thing too, Adam, is I also this Calinetics, my workout program that I do, is I do it with the teacher over in Australia. So we use the Zoom for her to describe what we're doing to me. So kind of keeps you right out there in the world, anywhere you want to go.
I really appreciate you taking some time today. And I've got to tell you, you're motivational to me, and I'm sure you're going to be very motivational to others out there who can see how successful you've been and how successful they can be by following some of these things and following your great example. So Terry, thank you so much for taking some time today, and let's all get out there and have some fun with fitness.
Yes. Thanks for having me. It really enriches your life.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. This is Sila Miller with the Division of Blind Services See Different team. And today it is my true honor to have Greg Lindberg speaking with me on the topic of fitness made fun, specifically about beep baseball. Greg is an author, an advocate, an organizer, a musician, and a sportscaster, basically an all-around, multi-talented, down-to-earth, nice guy. So without further ado, thank you so much, Greg, for joining me. How are you doing this afternoon?
Doing well, Sila. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here.
It's my true pleasure to have you. And again, thank you. So Greg, tell us, how did you first hear about beep baseball, and what made you interested?
Yeah, so I believe it was the Tampa Lighthouse for the Blind in the Tampa, Florida area, that they actually had an annual game that ran for about 25 years. So every year they would play a game against local media, local journalists, local celebrities. So they'd get a group together, from the lighthouse as far as clients, staff, and we'd play against this other team. And so it was 2012 was my first game when I actually got to play in that, and just I've been sold ever since.
What would you say are the top three things that keep you playing and keep you interested?
Number one, for sure, camaraderie. I've played on several different teams, so I've had the opportunity to meet a number of different people from all over the country, in addition to around Florida. And just, the camaraderie, the support that we have, as far as our teammates and cheering each other on, picking each other up if someone happens to make an error on the field or makes a mistake or does something, and they're feeling down, to be able to pick each other up and have that camaraderie, that family atmosphere. And, it's not just our team, it's really the whole beatball community. Every team around the country is just amazing. Number two, I would say competition. I will say I can be pretty competitive, when I get that bat in my hands or when I'm out there in the field. I really just absolutely love being in the moment of an opportunity. Let's just say, being up there at the plate with the opportunity to score a run for my team, to hit that ball, to run as fast as I can. It's just so invigorating. It's so thrilling. It's just so exciting, that competitiveness out there. And then as far as third, I would say just, the experience of the game itself, in terms of the rules, in terms of, how the game is played. I mean, I love sports in general. I'm a huge sports fan. And so just studying the game, just, really mastering the actual craft of playing the game, I've always found to be really fascinating. And, even though I've been playing for several years, I feel like I'm always learning this sport. And, you can always improve in every game you play and every opportunity you get.
And as I understand, when baseball is played, everyone is under blindfold, yes?
Absolutely. Yeah. And the reason for that is to make it a fair, equal playing field. Obviously, with visual impairment, there's such a spectrum of vision that individuals have. So that's really the goal of that. Yeah.
Do you have many sighted people on your team?
Yeah, there are some, a few that are fully sighted. I would say for the most part, everyone is visually impaired. Some have obviously, high partial, low partial, different variations of vision. There are some who are totally blind. So yeah, a lot of variety.
And may I ask, Greg, what is your vision like for people who may not know?
Yeah, so I have Leber's congenital amaurosis, LCA for short, and it's a retinal condition very similar to retinitis pigmentosa, if you're familiar with that. And so at this point, it's a progressive condition, so I can essentially see outlines. It's just about bordering on light perception in both eyes, so I can basically see outlines, contrast, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. Yes, absolutely. Um, are there barriers that you've encountered in participating in the game? And if so, how do you kind of neutralize or deal with those barriers?
Yeah, definitely. In terms of just actually being out there on the field with your teammates, there certainly are challenges that can come up in the game. And a big part of, especially fielding, a big part of it is communication. So you really have to verbally, say, I got it. Call off your teammates if you have multiple people running toward the baseball to actually get it, to make a play. You definitely have to communicate with each other and make sure that you're all on the same page. And then the same can be said for the pitcher and the batter as well. So in beat baseball, the pitcher is actually on your team, as far as the team that's batting. So you really have to get on the same page with your pitcher so that they are throwing the ball, placing that ball, where you can actually hit it. So definitely a different dynamic compared to, say, regular baseball.
Could you show us a beat baseball?
Sure. Yeah, I actually have one right here. So it's kind of like an oversized softball for those who can't visually see it, and it's got the feel of a baseball as far as the laces, around the ball. And then there's actually a pin at the top of it. And so when you pull that pin out, then it actually starts making a noise. So I'll just demo that real quick here.
Thank you. And the
As
whole
you can
time
tell-
that pin is,
Yep.
the whole time that
Good.
pin is out, it's making that noise, obviously, so people can kind of track it audibly.
Exactly. Right. And it's got that constant sound, the constant beeping. I will say there are times where if the ball, because it actually has a speaker on the ball on the outside of the ball. And so if that speaker lands, is totally flat on the ground, that could be another challenge as far as hearing the ball.
Oh, I can
Because,
imagine. Yeah, it's
obviously
muffled.
the sound, right, totally muffled and much quieter compared to if that speaker is, totally upright and totally audible. Yep.
And so you say you're going to the World Series in Kansas at the end of July, and
Yep.
I hope that you just knock them out of the park, and that your team, you're playing on a team, and your team is going.
Exactly. Yeah. So this year I'm playing on the Long Island Bombers out of New York. I was actually contacted by them and made a pretty good offer that I couldn't pass up. So this will be my first time with them.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, kudos to you. Thank you so much for speaking with us. And in closing, if somebody wanted to get into baseball, well, how would you sell it to them, the whole idea and the whole concept?
Yeah, I would say it's just such an amazing community of, blind and visually impaired people. It's such a fun sport, in terms of physical activity. You can really get a lot of exercise. It's a great workout, whether you're hitting, whether you're running, fielding. So there are just so many positive benefits to this amazing sport.
How do we find your sportscast?
Sure. Yeah, really excited to talk about that. So it's called Eyes Free Sports, is the podcast I host on sports and recreation for the blind. And if you just go to Eyes Free Sports, EYESFREESPORTS.com, you can access it through the website.
Thank you so much again, Greg. Really enjoyed speaking with you. It's always a pleasure to get to talk to you. I know you're a busy man with lots of irons in the fire, but I've so much enjoyed reading your writing and listening to you and watching you. And I really appreciate your advocacy on behalf of all people who are visually impaired and moving us forward in this world.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, Sila. Thank you again for having me.
I have the pleasure of introducing our next guest, who was a longtime DBS counselor here at Blind Services and moved up the ranks at Blind Services and was a bureau chief as well. And now he has retired from the state and owns his own technology business, SOAR Technology and Consultants. So it is my great pleasure to welcome a good friend and someone who I've known for a long time, Michael Elliott. Michael, thank you so much for joining us today.
Adam, I'd like to thank you guys for inviting me to participate in this.
So, Michael, tell us about some of the things you do as a blind individual in regards to fitness and physical activity.
Okay. One of the things I like to do is cycle, ride bicycles. I do have a stationary bike here at the house as well as a treadmill. The other thing I really get into is weightlifting. At age 14, I lost my vision, 13. And I played a lot of basketball. I learned how to play at age 4. And I met a good friend when I got transferred to a different school that was visually impaired, and started me lifting weights at age 14. And things went from there because I've always believed in physical fitness and that everyone should do something to stay in shape and mostly properly at the same time. So I participate in weightlifting as well as bodybuilding, competition-wise.
And I think you've also done some coaching as well, haven't you?
Right. I've coached in the area of powerlifting and as well as the game called goalball, which is dear to my heart.
Tell us a little bit about what goalball's about and how you got involved in goalball.
Okay. How I got involved in it, been a counselor at Blind Services. I had 3 clients that I worked with, and they used to go and see Tom Perringer over in St. Augustine like once a month to practice a game called goal ball. So they explained the game to me, which is 3 individuals on a court that's set up about the size of a volleyball court, and you have tactile marking, a string across the front, which is 30 feet and it's 10 feet deep, and every 3.5 feet, you have an additional marking to the center. You also have a wing line, which is 3.5 feet from the top of the line. And there's a center line, and then the other individuals on the other side of the court. And what you do is roll this ball from one end of the court to the other. Another team has to block it with their body or their hands and prevent it from going into the goal. This was a game that was invented, if I remember correctly, after the war, to give individuals that was blind some physical activity and sport that they could participate in.
That's a great history of the game and a little introduction of as to what it is. So the next question I like to ask is if you can tell us any high-tech or low-tech solutions that help you as a person with a visual impairment to do some of these activities.
Currently today, I use a Predominant Plus app when I'm walking. And also with the iPhone, there's several apps I use to check my, document my weight, blood pressure, and food that I eat on a daily basis. I used to be so conscious of what I ate, it was unbelievable. People tease me because I eat out a lot, but they don't realize I cook just as much. And Adam, you've been out with me eating, and you'll see I don't hardly ever eat my entire meal. Most of the time, I bring half of it home to eat later. So I eat about 6 small meals a day still. Out of habit, something I learned growing up early when I started with all the weightlifting.
And Michael is quite the cook, the grill master there. So Michael, I'd like to wrap it up with one final question for you today, and that is, tell us what motivates you and what you might tell others to have them be self-motivated as well.
One thing I ask people to take a test. If you ask someone how many individuals are overweight and give them 10 seconds, they can probably name 10 to 20 people. Then ask that same question about individuals that's not overweight. And they're probably named 2 or 3, or they're sitting there thinking about it. They just can't rattle it off. So that's the most important thing. Think about the individuals that are around you, their physical activity that's involved. So I'm motivated by other individuals and what they do and how I can encourage other individuals to stay in shape and take a look at themselves. And being visually impaired, I think appearance is real important, and sometimes we take it for granted. Appearance mean a lot to quote unquote people that are sighted, and that's how you're initially judged. So that's what really motivates me is try to stay in some type of shape.
Michael, I'd like to really thank you today for your time. You've been very motivational. You've given us some good information and some good motivation, and we really appreciate all your successes and hope you continue to stay healthy and get healthy and inspire others to do the same in the future. So thank you so much for doing this today.
And thank you for inviting me.
Well, good afternoon again. No workout would be complete without a dog or high tech. And so some people like to incorporate those things. And here to tell us a little bit more about that, of course, is our own tech guru, Adam Gaffney. He works in our technology department at the Division of Blind Services. Hi, Adam.
Hey, Sila, thank you for that introduction. And you're right, technology can definitely be a big part of a workout and activity and can even lead to some competition, which we'll talk about a little later on today. So there's a lot of different options out there nowadays for people who want to use technology and a workout. There's some less expensive options like Fitbits and other things that work with different types of smartphones like Android or iPhones. I, of course, have the iPhone and the Apple Watch, which does a whole lot more than just fitness, but it does some really interesting things for encouraging people to work out and to become fit. So I'll demonstrate a couple things. I wear my watch each day, and my watch keeps track of my daily steps, and it keeps track of workouts that I do. And it also reminds me to do something really important that's really helpful for a lot of people who have desk jobs, and that is to get up and move around at least once an hour for at least 1 minute. So it does that 12 times a day, and I can keep track of all that through the watch and through my handy iPhone here. So for those of you out there, you probably hear about people who work out with these types of things want to close those rings. So through the activity app on my phone, I can show the progress of workouts and stand and all those things right from here.
114% exercising, 187% standing, 100%.
So that was a good day. I closed all rings that day, and I can keep track of my activities. So I walk a lot. I do, like Sila mentioned, I do have a little dog, so he requires to be walked, rain or shine. So we do a lot of that together. So let's see how many steps I've gone so far today. I'm just going to go to my trusty watch here, and let's go down. So that shows just those 3 different activity categories and what I've done so far. So I've walked about 1.8 miles so far today, and it's mid-afternoon, so I still got some work to do before the day's over, but those are a few of the technology tools that I use to help me stay fit and stay active as much as I can.
One more question for folks who just simply want to walk their dog. What is your vision like, and how do you compensate? I know that you use a white cane. Would you tell us just a little bit about that, please?
So I have a dog. He's a pet, not a service dog, but he services me in a lot of other ways besides the official capacity. But we walk, and I use dark glasses that I wear outside because that helps my vision, which I have RP. And so I have some very limited tunnel vision. But so I use a cane in one hand and I hold the dog leash in the other hand. And I know some people don't really like these too much, but I use a retractable leash that's 16 feet long, and I can determine how far he is away from me and also the direction. There's constant tension on that leash, so I always kind of know where he is, and I won't trip over him if he's on a leash and gets underfoot and all that stuff. So he's definitely an inspiration to me to get out and walk every day. Also, with the technology, going back to that for just another minute, I can actually work out with other friends and have competition a little bit here so that we can send each other our goals and when we work out, so we can kind of compete a little bit and really spur each other on. So between the friends competition that you can do with the workout apps and all those possibilities, and my little 4-legged friend who loves to walk and who needs to walk, that is something that makes sure that I get out and walk probably around 5 miles every day.
Thank you so much for sharing, and yay, Adam Corky team. Thank you again very much.
Thank you, and keep on walking and keep on working out.
Good day. This is Adam Gaffney from the Division of Blind Services, and I have the pleasure of introducing a very successful blind individual who happens to be an author, a musician, an entrepreneur, a teacher, and many other things. So I would like to introduce Marty Klein, who's going to talk to us about some of the ways he does fitness, and maybe even give us a couple of very simple demonstrations that we can do in our own homes in a chair for moving around and doing what we can to stay active and stay healthy. So Marty Klein, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Adam. I appreciate helping, and I'll do whatever I can to help blind people feel better about themselves and their lives.
The first thing I'd like to ask you, Marty, is tell us what you can about any adaptations you can think of for a person who's blind or low vision that they can do either by themselves or with a partner for maintaining fitness and physical activity, to do something to stay active. So I'm just going to let you talk about that for a minute or two here.
Well, the first thing everybody says, all the doctors tell you that walking is really great. So I like to walk, and for me to walk with a cane means I have to really focus. So I can do that, but I'd rather have a nice time with a friend. So I teach that person how I need them to assist me, rather than expecting them to know what I would need. And I will tell them specifically how to assist me so we have a nice walk together. When I don't have a friend to walk with, I'll either decide to walk on my own or I'll get on my treadmill. And when I get on the treadmill, I have my hands on both sides, so I'm completely safe. And I like to put the radio on and do the treadmill to some nice music. If I'm swimming, I love to swim, and no one's around, then I'll just put a radio on one side of the pool or by the pond. So whenever I'm swimming, I can turn around and follow where the sound of the radio is, and it'll always bring me back to where I first started. Those are simple things. So, and the bottom line is, whatever you do, you can think about not just the exercise that you're doing, but how you can actually make it better for yourself. And if it's better for yourself, you're going to have more fun. If you have more fun, you're going to want to do it more. That's a little bit of some information for people.
Those are excellent. I like it because it's low tech. I come from a high tech world myself, but I always like low tech solutions because most people have these things like a radio readily available, or something to make noise that is a point of orientation. So that's excellent. So I think what I'd like to get into next is myself, and many of us included who have day jobs, who work at a desk all day, we tend to get stuck on projects and sit for a long time without getting up and moving around, which we all should at least once an hour. So I know there are some activities you can do just sitting in a chair that make us move, that get blood moving, that get us breathing, and that type of thing. So if you could take maybe 3 or 4 minutes, Marty, and go through a few exercises, something simple that you can do in a seated position that anyone can do, I'd like to let you do that for the next segment here.
So for anybody who's doing computer work, you know that your body kind of needs to move. If you don't use it, you lose it, kind of thing. So every hour or so, it's really good to just get up, move around, stretch a little bit. But if you're going to stay seated, move your butt to the front part of the chair and feel if you could get onto the sits bones. That's the bones at your bottom of your spine, and roll back and forth a little bit. And so when you balance it out, then you'll feel your spine becoming more erect. And when you get to that spot, then we can start doing what I call, I don't know, yes and no exercises. I don't know. Just lift your shoulders up to your ears and just drop them. I don't know. You make believe like, that's what you do. I don't know. I actually know how to say I don't know in 5 different languages, but I'm not going to tell you right now. But if you lift your shoulders and drop them, they're loosening up. If you slowly bring them up to your ears and slowly bring them down, you're using a little bit more muscle control. And then one, left side up, right side up, left side down, right side down, right side up, left side up, right side down, left side down. You could play with that. Go up halfway and go back down. And the slower you go, the faster you learn, and you'll have more control of those shoulder muscles. Now we're going to go to 2 neck muscle exercises, which is it's not no and yes. So no, we always shake our head no, but we just do it a little bit. So if we shake it a little bit further to the right and all the way to the center and back further to the left, you could feel the stretch on the opposite side of your back of the neck muscles. So that's really good to just do that. And you can hold it and then bring it back to center and then hold it again on the other side. And you'll find one side is usually a little bit tighter than the other. That was no. So we did I don't know, we did no, and now we're going to do yes. And we do, yes, a lot of times we just nod a little bit, but let's go further with the nod and bring your head all the way so that you're looking and facing the floor. You can feel the stretch in your back of your neck. And then you lift it all the way up, lift your head and chin so that you're facing the ceiling. And you'll feel that big stretch under your chin. It's great for all these neck muscles. You go back and forth a little bit, and it's a nice stretching. So you have, I don't know, the shoulders, you have no, the neck muscles, and you have yes, more neck muscles. Okay, now we're gonna go to lifting our arms up and stretching the right side and then stretching the left side so that your arms are both up, and then now bring the arms back down and bring them up again. And you can feel how the upper torso lifts as you're doing that, and bring them back down. Now we're going to do a little bit of a stretch from side to side. So make believe that there's a big apple tree right in front of you, and you want to pick the apples off the tree. So with your right hand, bring it up and try to get that apple on the left side there. And then with your left hand and arm, reach over to your right side and try to get that apple. And there's one up there high, and there's one up over there. So go back and forth with your left and your right arms, and you can feel your whole side of your back stretching with this exercise. So simple, but all these things really matter. Now I'm going to give you the last one for now. Take your right hand and put it on your left shoulder, and take your left hand and put it on your right shoulder, and give yourself a hug for doing this nice exercise with us. And if you do this stuff every hour or two, your muscles will be happier, your heart will be feeling smiling, more happy, your breathing will go better, and it's just a healthier thing to do, to be thinking about your body while you're doing computer work. Okay.
Thank you very much, Marty. Those are fantastic things. They're all easy. They're easy to remember. And we really appreciate you taking some time to show us something simple and giving us just a very few things that you do to stay healthy and fit. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Adam, and good luck for everybody. Stay healthy, stay fit.
I have the pleasure of speaking with Kathleen Trutchell today. Kathleen is visually impaired, and she leads a very active life and has fun while doing it. And not only that, but Kathleen advocates and encourages others to do the same. And today she's going to share her enthusiasm about rowing and how people can also have fun doing that, whether they can see or not. Hi, Kathleen, and thank you for joining us.
Good morning. And
Good
thank
morning. Yeah. How did you first hear about rowing, and what made you basically become interested?
Well, there is a newsletter that the Florida Council of the Blind puts out, and it's called the White Cane Bulletin. And I seen an article, it caught my attention in there, and it said visually impaired people that are interested in learning how to row on the Halifax River. I said, wow, that seems to be really cool and sounds like a lot of fun. So I gave the person a call, and then before I knew it, I was doing it.
But your rowing partner is also visually impaired, is that right?
Yes. His name's Craig Spencer, and he's totally blind, and it's just great.
And Kathleen, may I ask, how much vision do you have?
I have light perception with a little bit of seeing, being able to see some colors.
So just really dumb question, how do you all know where to go?
Oh, we have a coach that he's in a motorboat, and he follows us, and he tells us which way to turn or which way to go. So that, that's how we are able to do that, or unless we just want to get out there and don't know where we're going.
Have you ever done that?
Oh yeah.
Very
the coach,
cool.
the coach, he would go to another person for a few seconds, and then we'd just be on our own, and it was a little scary, but it was open water, so there's nothing that's going to happen.
What are the top 3 reasons you would say that keep you interested and keep you going out there?
The main one is the racing competition. And the second one is lots of exercise, keep you in shape. And the third one is meeting friends, new friends, and seeing the old friends.
Are there barriers that you've encountered with regard to like full inclusion? And if so, how do you kind of neutralize those barriers?
Well, there's rain and the weather and the wind and everything, but we deal with it. It's a more workout, but we deal with it. Long as it's not lightning and thunder, we do it in the wind and we do it in the rain, and you know, it's a little more different, but we do it. And then another one is it takes volunteers to help us get out in the water and you know, and get everything set up and get us in the boats and get us out in the water and everything. And then it takes the coach to volunteer to help us, you know, help us go where we're going and everything. So yeah. So, but it seems that more we, you know, tell everyone about rowing, more volunteers we're able to receive.
2 blind people rowing down a river.
And what would you say to people to get them to catch the fever and become interested and start rowing and towards better health as well?
You need to try it to see if you like it. And even if you're not sure, try it. It won't hurt. And it's lots of fun. And like I said, exercise to stay in shape and see how strong you are and see all about yourself and how you work with others. And it's just lots of fun. And
I can't wait to try it. I love being out on the water and just that wind in your face. And like you said, interacting with other people. And, you know, I think we as blind people have so much to teach, and people watch what we do and watch how we do it. And I think, you know, blindness is one of the most feared conditions. And so I appreciate very much you partnering with See Different to help people, quote unquote, see different.
It's a good way to get your just feel free and don't have any worries, and you know, just be out there in the open water and just feel what, you know, let your mind go and just relax and enjoy it.
Thank you again, Kathleen. Really enjoyed our interview.
And I hope a lot of people really give some thought on trying it too.
This is Adam Gaffney with another segment and interview for our Fitness Made Fun. And with me, I am very pleased to say I have a gentleman who has been working in the Business Enterprise Program, the Division of Blind Services sponsors, for many years. He has been a Toastmaster for the last several years and is very active, and we'll hear much more about that. But it is my great pleasure to welcome Mr. Randall Crosby.
Thank you for having me here.
First, tell us a little bit about the level of your vision, and then if you could, tell us some of the physical activities that you do either by yourself or with a partner, and give us a little detail about how you do those things.
I'm totally blind now for about the last 15 years from RP, that's retinitis pigmentosa. And I had pretty close to normal sight until 27 years of age, except for night blindness. But I did normal things until then. And I was pretty active physically. I enjoyed being physically fit. I wrestled in high school, and I'd work out in the gym off and on over the years as an adult. But it was in the year 2006 when a friend invited me to run a 5K race. I had just become totally blind the year before. And I actually told my good friend, Gabe, that I thought he was crazy to ask me to run a 5K race as a person who was blind. But he insisted, and thankfully he wouldn't take no for an answer. And in 2006, after running that 5K race, which a 5K is 3.1 miles, I fell in love with running, and I've been running ever since.
That's wonderful, Randall. A great story and a good partnership. So Tell us a little bit more about how you do that. Is there any high-tech or low-tech solutions that you use to make that happen?
Yes, Adam. Actually, I'm currently running a couple of days a week. I run in my neighborhood with my sighted guides. Since that day I ran that first 5K race, I reached out to other people because of my love for running. I felt more kind of bold and able to call upon people and ask them if they could run with me and be a sighted guide. So to this date, I can tell you I probably run with 40 different sighted guides in the past 15 years. And they've all, in their own way, become a good friend to me, and we've built a bond. And so I've run a ton of 5Ks, 10Ks, several half marathons. I've run 3 full marathons, that's 26.2 miles, and several triathlons, which is the swim, bike, and run. So for that swim, bike, and run, we would use a 10-foot long bungee cord tied around our waist, and we would swim in the water with my sighted guide in front of me. And the bungee cord would serve to help me know where my guide is and which way we're turning. Then we would use a tandem bike, a bicycle for 2 on the bike ride. And for the running, we use a short tether. It's about 2 feet long. And we just hold that tether between us, or a rope, and we just simply run side by side. That's the way I've been doing it. And it's just been a lot of fun for me over the years.
Wow, that's fantastic, Randall. I feel like I'm burning calories just listen to you tell us about this stuff. So tell us what motivates you.
I definitely want to talk about what motivates me. And to answer your question about the technology, I would tell a person to go on Facebook, look for groups of visually impaired runners and guides. There's also unitedinstride.com. That's unitedinstride.com, all written together. On that website, they match sighted guides with vision impaired runners by their zip code. And you can find a runner in your local area to guide you. And I've also been successful with going on to nextdoor.com. That's nextdoor.com. And that's a website where you can log in and put a password and become a member. And you put a notice up there just stating that you're a person who is blind and you want to find people to run with or cycle with. And you'll be surprised at what results you can get by posting those notes out there like that. And so that's the technology resources I use. And just to talk about my motivation, what motivates me, it's just really the desire to be physically fit, to stay healthy, and for longevity, so I can have a long life as a healthy person. But I've been motivated since a young person to stay healthy, but I strongly urge anyone, wherever you're at, start walking or do some basic things, start a physical fitness regimen. Even though you're visually impaired, reach out to your community, start in your local gym if you have one, go to a swimming pool, or just start walking around your neighborhood if you can do it and build up on that. I'm always happy to share my experiences with people. Reach out to me, and I'm always glad to share.
Well, Randall, this has been really wonderful. You've given us some excellent specific resources, and you've been extremely motivational. So thank you so much for sharing this with all of us today. And I'm sure lots will benefit from your story and your positive attitude and what you've done. So thank you again so much for taking some time with us today.
Thank you, Adam.
If you have questions, please, we'd love to answer them. So here once again are your hosts, Sila Miller and Adam Gaffney.
So as we said, we're ready for questions and answers. Miss Audrey, do we have some folks in the queue ready to?
Does Erica McCall have a question?
I do. I just wanted to put in a plug for an organization called Ski for Light, which matches blind and visually impaired people who are interested in learning how to cross-country ski or who already know how to cross-country ski with a sighted guide for a week of skiing. The venue changes from year to year, although one of our favorites is out in Colorado because they have fabulous consistent snow when we go out there. The other really great thing about the program is it is a complete package vacation thing where you get all your meals and accommodations for a set price, and there are afternoon and evening activities in addition to the skiing. So no matter your level of physical fitness, or obviously in Florida we don't have a lot of experience with snow sports, there's always a lot of really fun things to do. I'll put a note in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you. There was an Ann Morrow who said that she lives in Lake Worth, Florida, and is looking for an exercise program for the blind. She was in a program called Third Eye Insight.
Third Eye Insight. Wow, that's pretty cool. So, so I know that there are different exercise. I know that American Council of the Blind is hosting a program called Get Active or Get Up and Get Moving or something like that. And I would be happy to connect you with that. Stay tuned towards the end and you'll see and hear all of our contact information. And we would love for anybody to reach out to us to get connected with any of the resources that us and our presenters talked about today. So thank you, Anne. Others?
It doesn't look like any other questions are in the chat right now.
Well, we really did have a ball putting this together, and it takes a village, and we appreciate everyone for their flexibility and their willingness to stay tuned while we worked out our technical difficulties. And we want to thank and recognize our presenters and our team and the audience. So if you will stay tuned just a quick more minute, and we will let our credits roll. And again, I just really hope that you're energized and enthused. And what do you have to say, Adam?
I'm ready to exercise, and I hope I can burn as many calories as we heard getting talked about today as I hope, because there's a lot of great information, a lot of good inspiration. So thanks to all the people who presented, and we hope you take something away from this that helps you to lead a more healthy life.
Thank you, everybody.
Fitness Made Fun was produced by the Florida Division of Blind Services. Special guests: Terry Lindstrom, tandem biking, rowing machine, spin bike, and walking. Greg Lindberg, beep baseball. Michael Elliott, spin bike, treadmill, weightlifting, bodybuilding, and goalball. Adam Gaffney, walking. Marty Klein, walking, treadmill, swimming, and stretching. Kathleen Trutchell, rowing. Randall Crosby, running. The See Different team: Stephanie Brown, Keith Flowers, Audrey Ford, Adam Gaffney, Brandis Hall, Sila Miller, Latoya Mitchell, and Lisa Marie Van Meter. Contact See Different at 850-245-0300 or email cdifferent@dbs.fldoe.org. Copyright 2021, Florida Division of Blind Services, all rights reserved.